perfect. Great start to today's episode of learning the secrets of deprogramming. Deprogramming. Duh. D as in dog programming, bro. Dog water programming. But we're gonna get back to deprogramming in a minute after I set up my desktop with all of the shit. We're gonna pour liquid shit all over the desktop to get everything looking nice. So last time we figured out that you can use truncation to solve the remainder of solve if a thing has a remainder. So what we're trying to do is in exercises there's this one that says do this shit, and I want to have it put it into two different arrays basically. So you want to have it sort even and odd numbers separately and then handle negatives in a completely different way. And obviously you can always figure out what a negative number is based on properties as well. We just see all they're doing is excluding negative numbers. So all you have to do is use a U float to prevent it from even having negative numbers. Ah, perfect. A U float. I wonder if that's even a thing. Well, we could just do a U int. But the thing is that, of course, then you could solve negative numbers. So we want to handle negative numbers differently. It's a good challenge. I like that this book is pointing out this negative number value as being a thing. Or is it only treat the value -1 specifically determined? Like, it's a challenge, obviously. This is a challenge kind of task. And so we're going to primarily just use this. We don't really need the rest of that shit right now, but... So to get started, the first thing that we're going to do inside of the scope for our if variable is... so we're already doing a modulus to figure out if it has a remainder, but then we need to figure out if we can even determine if what places are in that. So we could try making a testing program to like determine shit about that, but at the same time, I don't know about I don't know what I'm doing with this, because I don't know exactly how to determine whether or not there's a remainder, because I know we can truncate. Oh, that's my idea from yesterday. I just had a brainwave come back into my brain. Wow, so if we use B3, we can set B3 equal to the original number, so then we compare the two numbers, the new number and the secondary number. So what this is doing sets B2 to that. What we're going to do before we do that even is do B3, and we're going to just set it equals to... the same thing basically, but beforehand. So it will just be equal to oh, okay, so we'll be equal to a of b and then of 1 without the modulus. So it will just be a comparison between the two, and then if we subtract, then we can be like, oh well, this one has a remainder, so let's exclude it from this group. And then that's how we'll be like, well, if b has a remainder, that's how we'll figure it out. So then B3 minus B1 will equal B4, which is going to be absolutely madness. But this is the way I think works for this, but if you have a better way of doing it, you can always just let me know and or try it out for yourself and tell me what you've come up with for this, because this is like an absolute challenge for me to even figure out how to do math. Bro, math is painful. Maybe I should reconsider my life as a deprogrammer. Math right here. Straight up. Can't be a deprogrammer if I need mathematics. Hate math, bro. Hate that shit. Alright, so then we will determine if 1 is greater than the other... Wait, what? Well, B4 is going to equal B minus the other number. So then we will have to determine which one's 0. If that makes... Actually, hold on. You don't even need to do that. Because... Oh, wait, we'll still need to subtract. So we'll subtract 1 from the other number, and if there's still numbers afterwards, then we can be like, does not equal 0. So it will still work the same. It will still work the same. We'll have to do a lot more array mathematics, bro. Array math. God damn. The fucking amount of arrays I'm using. So if 3 is the original number, then B will be, or we'll do a minus B2. That's the second number. And then, of course, maybe I should switch these around, honestly. Make it look like I knew what I was doing, kind of. Make it kind of look like I was doing what, or knew what I was doing. And then B1 is just a clock, it looks like. So B1 and, oh, B0 is also a clock. Alrighty. Perfect. And then we have two different ones of these. So these are two different while variables, so. And we also want to add in another thing to this. So this will just output a true. And then what we can do is add an and. I'm saying we want an and statement because we want to know if this and B... Actually, we'll just fucking say it works as is, because it goes in steps. Consider that it goes in steps, and then that will be the answer. Because it goes in steps, so you don't have to worry about doing all that extra shit. We'll have to complete this first while loop before we can start this one. We don't need to account for if it doesn't do this whole thing, because it has to do this whole thing first. If that makes sense. It will be stuck in this loop before it can get stuck in this one. So we don't have to worry. And when it gets to this one, we could set B to 0, actually. We could probably just reuse B0 for this. If that makes sense. But I have it separate for this purpose. I have no idea why I decided to do that separately. We could just... Oh, it does need to be separate. Honestly. No, it doesn't. It doesn't need to be fucking separate. I don't know what I'm doing. That's the thing. That's why these streams exist. I don't know at all. But this will give us a answer. So then we need to have an if statement for our B. If, and then we put in our great B equals, and then do our whole entire thing. Oh, actually. Is equal to 0. So B4 equals 0. And then we get into our assignment in our scope, which will assign which one to the next, will basically determine which category, if it's an even or an odd number. And then from there, we'll be getting into having to figure out the negative numbers. If B is that, then there's probably some kind of trick I can use later on that will help us out with that negative number. But that's the thing. So if you subtract from a negative number, it will just give you a negative number from the beginning. Of course, here's the issue. Well, B is an integer, so you're assigning an integer to... Yeah, it will work with this. The only problem is if you put a negative one, it will probably do some weird shit, but who cares? Alright, let's go ahead and do the next part. B4. So if B4 equals 0, then we can assign it to even. Because dividing by 2 will give you that. If you divide by 3, or actually no, you can only really do evens and odds by dividing by 2. I don't think you could divide by 3 to get, oh, is this number even or odd? No, don't do that. That's not a good idea. There's so many things that are divisible by 3, but not every odd number is divisible by 3. Like you have 5. That means you have to do fizzballs to fucking determine if numbers are odd. So it makes it easier to determine if they're even, if that makes sense. So... And else would be if it has a remainder, then it will go into the other category. Now, here's the thing, is that it might be kind of fucking strange. We probably want to do an else if statement. So it'd be else if, which is technically you could do that on a separate line, the if statement part, but I don't know how that works out. I don't know how that figures, but cool. We'll want to do that. And this is just to assign E equals B4, or E equals B4. Yes, that's how that's going to work. Actually, hang on a second. We would assign this, so I think it would be like this, but I don't remember exactly. It's a good thing to not remember shit, because then you'll learn it and be like, oh, well now I can know that every time I do that shit. It's gonna be that. That will assign our amazing E number. E. Might just be able to... I don't think you put brackets on it. I think you just assign it to E. But we'll see how that works. It might be like you need brackets there. Well, the compiler will tell us if we're wrong. That's my answer. And then this one will be for O. We just got to give it a parameter for its if statement, and then we'll be good to go. I think to give it its shot, at least. I'm surprised I came up with this shit so fast. I mean, I did think about it for a little bit yesterday and was like, oh, I really want to do it, but I'm too busy with debugging my phone and shit. So I was like, nah. Alright, so here we go. If, and then we're going to add in our statement for this. E does not equal 0. Or no, if B4 does not equal 0, then it will get assigned here. Not equal to 0. Bro, my code looks fucking confusing as hell, but I don't really care how people think of this shit. By the way, just to let you all know. I like how it looks. This looks like it doesn't make any sense to anybody, but this makes complete sense to me. It's just brackets, parentheses, fucking... This is Satan code right here. This is straight up Satan code. There's no comments. There's nothing to tell you what any of this shit does. It just looks pretty complicated, but it's really simple. It's really a simple code. It's just doing basic math. Alright, so now we need to go ahead and... so we've already done the sort here, so they'll all be in order, which was one of the tasks that we figured out last episode. And then, of course, it's time to test it. Control A. Control S. Looks like arrays. Yeah. So what we're doing is a challenge, kind of. At the bottom of this page, so we're trying to finish off arrays. I've done three streams of arrays so far. And we're going to try to finish it off with this kind of challenge, almost. But I am taking the challenge a little bit too far to make it even better, because what I want to do is have this write on separate lines as well. So I need to sort my different shit into 2 different categories, but they're saying you put it in 1 line. I'm saying let's try to get it into 2 lines, so you need 2 different arrays for that. And then, of course, in order to do that, to figure out if they're even or odd, well, I had to Google how to do that, and then I figured out, oh, I had to search. I didn't Google, I searched, but anyway, you use this shit. You divide by 2. You can determine if it's even by dividing by 2. Then, obviously, if you know what's even, then anything that isn't even is going to be odd. So then we're assigning our E and O parameters to B4, which should increment every time. There might be mistakes in there, but the idea is simple. So we just determine if it's 2, then we compare if one number still has a remainder. So by subtracting B3 from B2. I didn't even know how to do that shit. But I figured it out by just searching and then going, oh, you just divide by 2, then you subtract this shit. Because then you can be like, well, if B2 doesn't have the leftovers of B3, which should have a remainder. For example, hold on. But this could be like, well, the original number minus that. But the question is, it should give you 0 though. Oh, wait a second. There's another part we can do. Not divide. That's, yeah, I know. It's similar. Actually, what even does modulus even do? That's a good question, actually, now I think about it. I mean, technically, modulus just gives you the remainder, right? Oh, when you see that, it returns 0 or 1. So you're saying I don't need to divide. So it returns 0 or 1 if what exactly? Hold on. I need some assistance. Modulus returns the remainder, not the quotient. Oh, perfect. That's exactly what I need, actually. So it does not return the other shit. So perfect. Oh, so will it return that it has the... So you mean like when it returns, it will be like 0 point the remainder, and then... Or will it be like 1 if there's a remainder, 0 if there's no remainder, right? Because I could completely recode this if that is the case. It's kind of annoying that I don't have a... Are these both on the same fucking page? Bro, why do I have 2 arrays open? No. Okay. Like, hold on. Let me just go ask the book. Let me go ask the book. It just returns the... Oh. Okay, that's cool. The remainder of dividing the first by the second. So this would be right, then. This would be like... Thank you. Okay, I was like, did I screw shit up? You had me second guessing myself. Continue. Alright. So this should be what we need to do, and then we'll need to have the variables, or the arrays, my apologies, the arrays get listed out. So that means we'll have to do a right line section. So far, I have a right line here, which is going to write out that. The question is, how do we write out these? But what's the other thing? The math is probably wrong. I'm guessing the math is probably wrong. Right ln. You did b4 does not equal 0. Oh, wait, what? Yeah, that's correct, though. That's for odd numbers. If it does not equal 0... Hold on. So, like, basically when you subtract this part from this part, it won't give you that shit. Like, it will give you a remainder. That's the idea. So if you subtract this minus 2... Oh, wait, you'd only be subtracting your remainder from 2. Hold on. Hold on 1 second. So when you do this, you still have that number. So that's what we need to fix now, is this number. I think for that, it'd be like... Because we only have the remainder in this case. And then, oh, wait. Sorry, I'm just overthinking. But no, you're not wrong. Modulus is what we need to do for this, but then, of course, it will only give us the remainder, and then if we don't have 2... If we don't divide... We need to divide. It's not a modulus. Or, hear me out, we make this even better. Get rid of all this shit. This shit's unneeded. Because... if you have a number that is not 0, you can test if it's not 0. So if we know it's not 0, we don't even need to fucking do all that extra work. That's like testing extra shit. That's making it overcomplicated, okay? Because B2 would just be not equal, if it doesn't equal 0 as B2, then we've already figured out it's not 0. Oh, not B26. But if B2 does not equal 0, then we know that clearly, that's correct. But we don't want to assign B2 in this case. We want to assign another number. So we need to have a secondary number to assign it to that category. So we'll have B3. We'll keep those as B3. We'll switch this one. Actually, we'll do B2 here, B3 here. I set it to insert. Good God damn it. Good God. Don't set it to fucking insert. But we'll assign this to the A, this shit, minus the modulus section. We'll just copy and paste this up. Then remove the modulus, which should give us an assignment for that, and then we just compare B3. So then it will give us 2 numbers, which we can assign B2 to that based on B3, if that makes any sense. And now we have even better code, which is the goal. You always want to have the least amount of lines and shit. We're doing pretty good now. Let's go ahead and scroll down on this page to this section here. So write a program that reads the numbers from input and prints the odd and even ones separately, but in order. Treat the value -1 specifically to determine the end of the numbers. Do not process that value. For example, when the following numbers are entered. Oh, so instead of doing a loop for this section, -1 just means that. Oh, okay. Oh, that means it's going to be even more fun to do that. Why am I doing a float for this? That's because I need to get the remainders, so I need to have a float for that anyway. And then, of course, that would mean I'd have to rewrite everything to exclude -1, though. However, that is another challenge I could take on, is the idea of excluding -1 to use it as a bit that determines, oh, are we still processing this information? And then if it hasn't reached -1 yet, then that's a good challenge, though. That's something you could use a lot, I feel like. That would be a separate thing, though. I don't really want to try to incorporate that into what I've already set up, because it would completely change the code, for real. So, then sort A in order, but you want to exclude -1, which is crazy, though. You'd probably, so here's what you'd do. You'd remove -1 and assign it to like a separate array or some shit like that. Separate variable, and then reassign it later after you've done your sorting. Or it's the last thing you assign. So instead of, all of this could happen while you're assigning your array, and you could be like, all right, read F, and then it will sort it in there. But then on that last one, that's the problem. That would be an absolute pain. And here's my extra bit that I added to this challenge, because I thought this would be really easy to do, except that treat the value -1 specifically. You see, adding in -1 is like, adding that part would be painful. I don't want to even want to think about it anymore. But my own challenge is to have it write onto 2 separate lines. So, all right. So then we're gonna try. What we're gonna do is we're gonna have each of these have up to 10 numbers. Actually, no. Maybe? Because you can't just be like, oh, keep doing this for 10 iterations. I guess we would just do right line B. Can we do that? Right line array. Perfect. I don't even have to do a loop for that. And this is still inside of the... Okay. What's up? How's it going, Pronator? Write ln, and then just write out E, and write out another line for O. O, Control S, and then put in our semicolons, and then we should be good to go. That should give us those numbers. Then after that, we'll be like on to figuring out how to incorporate -1 into this equation. And then that would be, if -1, then stop. But that's the thing. Is that if -1 gets included, it will still just get printed out in there. So let's go ahead and test it out. Does he start with evens or odds? That's a good question now. How do you plan to do this? Like, what's your project map? Project map for this? Like, I'm just learning I'm learning the code right now. I'm just learning how to do it. I'm learning how to figure out doing all this shit. And then doing these challenges is a great way to build your programming skills, because when you actually get to that final stage where you're like, all right, here's my project goal, here's my plan, I'm gonna go ahead and start building my project and start doing that shit. You don't want to be like, how do I do this again in the middle of it? Like, I want to be a master at this shit before I go to actually make fish tech. So that's the first step, is learning. Like mastering and becoming an expert in how to do deprogramming, how to do all of this shit. Like, a lot of it, some of it's just memory, but then I want to be able to not have to fucking look at a book and be like, oh man, spend 10 hours staring at a fucking book to write out 2 lines of code and then be like, wow, I really got nothing done today. I don't want to have to do that shit. I mean, it's going to happen regardless, but I want to minimize that. So I want to know what I'm doing before I get there. It's like having a plan before you show up to do some shit. Some dumb shit. You want to know what you're doing and then go do it. And then let's go ahead and open up a console here. Open terminal. DMD array dot array2.d. And it's got that compiler error. Cannot implicitly convert expression of a float to an int. Which is okay. We'll have to just set this to a float. Oh my gosh. Float. Oh. I hate fucking floats now. To a ulong. Where does it say ulong? Is B1 a... What? Oh god. Gordon, we're doomed. To be honest, I still don't understand your program. It's okay. It's just a challenge program. So if it's trying to assign floats to ints, then we just have to set this to an integer. But the problem is then it truncates the end. It will truncate the end. So we need a separate value to hold floats. If that makes sense. Unless we do everything as a float. Or are these in E? Yeah, those are in E. Oh my god, everything's a fucking float now. God damn it. I hate floats, bro. Floats are cringe. Bro, unless I program the whole fucking script to be a fucking float, the whole fucking program is a fucking float. I fucking hate floats, bro. I'm gonna destroy every single float. Cannot implicitly convert the expression. A is a float, B is a float, C is a float, D is a float, E and O are floats. Good grief. Cannot convert to ulong. Is it trying to do that for math? It's probably doing that for the math. What if we just do int for everything? Let's just go ahead and give it a shot and try int. Integer. We will do all integer all the way. It's in these assignments that's the problem. Cannot implicitly convert. So unless there was a way to convert between those and those. Oh god, no, not my Tor browser. Get Tor browser today, guys. Alright, so you're going to assign 10 values. And then it gives this brackets. Bro, it didn't even assign shit. It didn't assign anything. So while that readf, and then it assigns those. Then right line A, and then B1. It doesn't assign shit. And then it writes out E and O. Okay, at least we know what we're kind of doing. Somewhat. I would like to have a right line for... It's not even doing a plus plus B in there. Well, I'd like to have a right line for A. Technically, we don't even have to do them in order. We're going to do a right line for A so I can debug. And then start trying to figure out the float bullshit. Because I know we're going to need floats in there. I mean, obviously, modulus isn't going to just fucking work with... Oh, that's what this is anyway. This is a debug. So it just skips to the end. It just skips to the end, if that makes sense. While B1 is less than 10. Oh, you must have used the fucking wrong variable. Oh, this needs to be B2. But then it can't be B2. We'll just use B4. Perfect. B4 for that. I think we have that's the max we can use. Yeah, but it's not gonna work if you use integers, will it? What the fuck? Oh, that's my bad. No fucking hell. I'm giving it some good numbers here. For array length of 10. Index 234, okay. Because if the remainder is given, unless you enter a float number, it's never gonna enter a float number. The remainder is given unless you enter, it's never gonna enter a float number from pure logic. Yeah, like, it's not gonna store the remainder unless you have that. So that's the problem. We'll have to figure that out later. Probably put in an integer variable instead of using an array for everything. Now that I've used arrays for everything, it will be absolute pain. This is absolute pain. Good God, don't use arrays for everything. Well, B for less than 10. And then of course, for an array length of 10. And it's trying to assign each one to, so it's writing line A, B1. What is the B4? That's what it's doing. That's why it gave me that exit code. Then we need to do DMD. We need to do array, and then we need to do all of the numbers again. This is decoding language. This program looks really easy. Give it a shot yourself. It's, I mean, it's in the book. Yes, but it does what it do. Core.exception.index is out of length for 10. It's where the fuck is he getting this shit from? It's getting it from B1 being assigned. I think these need to be B4. Right? These need to be A of B4. Right? Yeah, for the whole fucking shit. No need to assign a number like that. This is pain right here. And then the array length of 10 is... Yeah, so those get assigned an array length, and then it still has that array length property. Okay, let's try this again. Nice. And it... Wait, what the fuck? Bro, did it actually... What the hell? No way it actually fucking works. Dude, no way. It actually worked. Look at this. Okay, so we have our sorted lines. Honestly, this fucking worked. Look, so I input 2, 3, 5, 4, 4, 2, 1, 7, 8, 5, 4, 6, 3, 4, 8. Honestly, let's just go ahead and put it, instead of right line, let's just switch this out for, what the fuck? How did the fuck... Whoa! Charizard! What the fuck? Bro. This isn't fucking... No, it shouldn't work. I still have to fucking fix shit. Alright. 9, 8, 2, 3. No. 2, 3. Let's go ahead and give it 3, 6. 4, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 5, 6, 5, 7, 6, 8, 6, 9. Oh, what the fuck? Bro, it actually sorts the shit out. No fucking way, dude. It gave me an array. It does this shit. It does that shit. No way, dude. It's a number sorter. What the hell? Now, if you had to do it on a negative one at the end, I don't even understand the point of that. I mean, honestly, if it... -1 being the end of the array makes sense, because then you could be like, oh, just put in a -1 for the end of the array, but that's pretty fucking sweet. We're gonna cut this out of the main loop and then backspace. I could try to implement that feature like the other shit. I feel like that'd be a great challenge. I feel like that'd be an actually insane challenge to do. Control S. Go ahead and try this shit again. /array, DMD array, and then /array 2. 13, 14, 64, 34, 15, 15, 18, 98, 76, 54. Does it give me oh, it does give me 2 15s. And it puts it all in order. Look at that shit. No way, chat. Now, if we give it a negative, it won't do anything. It won't even work with a negative. That's awesome. But I do like the idea of having it use different numbers for, like, different things. So let's go ahead and go into our while loop. We could add in an and. B1 does not equal -1. Actually, if B1 equals -1, break right in there. That's what I would do. Now the thing is that you can't, yeah, you can assign a negative to an int. Yeah, that's perfect. It's not a uint, so we should be able to add in this code really easily. It's not that hard. I was acting like, oh my god, it's gonna be such a challenge, bro. Oh my, but you just really would just do this with the parameter that is if b, and then those 1 equals, and then -1. Yeah. Then it will do break. And then it won't do this shit. This shit needs to come before we assign our variable. However, it can't be before we assign our variable. So this will break. So hopefully it will just exit the loop. We're gonna test, but hopefully it will just exit the loop. Alright, and then we'll add another thing here. Else. That way, everything else is in the scope for this. Because that's where you would use else for. That's what you would do with that. Now this guy, he doesn't have a second thing, so we're gonna have to... Pretty sure I want it like this. And then this goes down. Actually, yeah. Yeah, pretty sure that's how that's gonna look. And then we add in our... that. And that looks pretty good. That looks like it just works, guys. Todd Howard. Alright, so if I give it 12, 13, 14, let's go ahead and give it a -1. Core exception. Index -1 is out of array for array length of 3. So it tried to assign. It tries to read fs while b0. Hold on. We need to, okay, so read, so let's see. So that would give us a 10 integer limit for that, but really, then of course it needs to have -1 assigned in there. Then it would just read b1. Alright, well at least we got it to work with the first method, or the first way of doing it. That first way worked out pretty well, actually. There are no, yes, but what does it do? There are no functions or anything, so it's not easy to read what it does. Functions, bro. What are you talking about? Bro is talking about Python or some shit, bro. I swear to God, I fucking hate object-oriented languages. Even though D kind of is technically partially object-oriented, isn't it? You can be, because import... No, it isn't. These are libraries. No! Hate object-oriented. Bro, object-oriented languages are for people who like cooking spaghetti. Your code looks like fucking spaghetti. I swear to God. Java, program spaghetti. Coders, programmer spaghetti, guys. Who likes spaghetti? Not me. I fucking hate spaghetti. Whoa. Anyway, back to the scheduled programming. So if b equals 1, and then it will just break. But the thing is that we're assigning b equals 1 every single iteration. So when you assign b equals -1, if b equals -1, and then if b if b1 equals -1, so that's what we're doing there. It will break. Else, assign a equals b1. Where's a at? And why is a being assigned into b1? So is it reading that and then assigning s to b1, or is where is a at? Where does a get? A is getting assigned b1. Else assign b1 or a to b1. Well, actually, let's go ahead and figure that out for a second, because technically, when you assign that to when you assign to your b1, wouldn't I want to assign my -1 to b1 as well? That'd be the thing. Is like you want to assign a -1 to b1. So we will do an unconditional loop for our assignment. Remove all of that shit, all this slop that we put in there. Instead, we'll just do a unconditional loop. Hope I didn't delete code on accident. That means we'll also be able to remove this, the ++ b equals. And then we're just gonna have to do while true, which will be unconditional. So while true, read f, and then assigns it to a equals b1, sort a, and we want to exclude that from the sorting. So we're gonna need to move this, because now we can't do it like that, but it's okay. So we're gonna go ahead and put it down here. So to sort it, you put this here, hit Control S, and that will be saved into position. Now this will be just assigning A1, right? So if we're just assigning A1, then of course, there's another way. So when we get to the reading part of this, we could totally read it by the -1, or we could do it the other way. We could read by length, right? If it's less than the length of our array, we could do an array.length here, or like some shit like that. But what I'm gonna do is not use the length property. I'm just gonna go ahead and use the -1. Since that will probably make the code a lot less spaghetti. I fucking hate spaghetti code. Bro, if your code looks like goddamn spaghetti like this shit, this ain't spaghetti code, this is just array hell. I think there's two types of fucking shitty programming. It's array hell and code spaghetti. Like, let me go ahead and show you fucking Java, bro. Java. Fucking hate Java. Look at Java and you just go, God damn, who wrote this fucking program spaghetti? Where the fuck is all these shit that it's referencing? God damn. com.android.java. Java. I hate it. Java's for fucking psychopaths. I swear to God. Hate Java, bro. It's worse than C++. Worse than Python, even. I don't know how you can get worse than Python. Okay, what am I doing? So this... Right, we're trying to determine if it hits the -1. Okay, so if b1 equals -1, then just break it. That simple. Well, actually, we want to know if a... whatever number b1 is. So we do like if a of b1, the b1 number. If a of b1, so we'll still need a reader loop probably. Somehow we'd have to fucking determine which one in A. But we could, for this one, we could just do the B one. There's a lot of ways of doing this shit. The more you program, the more ways there is to do it. B, so we'd do like if B, then do -1. Or if B1, because that's just one and it's getting reassigned every single time. Oh right, we also need to do the other shit. Nano. Good God, I fucking hate nano. It's good for when you need to use just the command line. Just use the terminal. Well, that's it. If I had to program this in that, I'd fucking die. Cool. And then we just do break. Control S. Now we'll go ahead and recompile. Alright, go ahead and give it 12, enter. And then of course, index 1 is out of bounds for an array length of -1. Or array length, index 1 is out of, for an array length of 1. Excuse me, what? What the techity? What line is that on? I mean, it doesn't give you a line, it's just a fucking shit here. Array in the index error. Index. Okay, this is painful. Something's wrong, but I couldn't tell you what. Break. If B1, then go and do the next thing, which is break. But maybe it's a problem with that A assignment. It's out of balance for an array length of 1. That means it's not in the array, right? So which array is it out of? Array 2.d. Array index error. Okay, this is weird. But let me go ahead and try this. Try removing this shit. The whole Control S. We'll just recompile and test this. 12, 11. -1, 13. Okay, that works. So why is testing that bad? Why would I test B1 and then have a problem? So you assign your B1 to that shit. So you assign that. Then if B1 equals B parameter 1, right? Yeah. So if B parameter 1 equals that shit, then just break. Why does that not work? Let's just try it in a different order. We'll try putting our if statement up here. Actually, but then it might read that shit, so we don't want to do that. Because we do still need to assign that, so if we'll just read it from A then. But we need a way of counting which one it's on. Or we can use an array.contains, or the contain property, which should be somewhere in here. There should be a section that tells you if it contains that. Array.result length. We could use a result length for that. Or array remove. We could do an array.remove. Maybe. Or an array dot. Obviously, that array.remove would be down here. So you would do a.remove, and then you'd put in the -1. A equals a.remove, and then add in -1. So that way it doesn't print out -1 because that's in the result that was in the original one. Just so we have that shit squared away right now. We're gonna do that. And then this is some highly intense programming right here, guys. Truly is. We're gonna do right line array. No, not for this. We're gonna actually A. There is a array.length, right? So array.length. No, that will remove every instance of -1. So array.length probably will be used for that. We'll see. Alright, so we have that. We have our result.length, which is his variable or whatever. So array.length, right? Yeah, it'd be a.length, right? Result.length? Well, which will print out the number of, oh, so he combines the two arrays and then he prints out the result.length. Well, I'm going to try if a.length, or no, we'll use a.length, and then we'll have a get There's got to be a better way. We'll just have to look in our, in the documentation for algorithm module. Because that would be useful. If I could just determine if a number is -1 without doing all that extra work. Be like, array.find. Let's go ahead and go to the home and then go to documentation. Library reference. Standard algorithm. Oh. Convenient operations commonly used with built-in arrays. Note that many common array operations subsets of the more... Okay. We'll check an algorithm. Sorting. Processing of sequences. Okay. But we're going to look for one that has our array shit. Which would be copy, set section. Sort, which is a... We're looking for properties though. Searching. There's all, any. We'll try any. Any might be what we're looking for. Checks if any exists of the elements satisfies pred, not any. Can also be used to verify that none of the elements satisfy pred. This is sometimes called exists in other languages. So you'd go any. Okay, that's weird. I have no idea how to use that shit yet. There is a lot of shit here. Find. What does find give us? Find behaves similarly to drop while in other languages. To find the last matching element in a bidirectional haystack. Bro, what is this shit? This is a curse, bro. Using the actual documentation is painful. But we're going to need to do this to ends with. Let's go back to our array shit. Standard array. Appender, join, replace, slice, split. Static array on the uninitialized array. Okay. Maybe. Let's try how to find a specific value in an array. Then we'll just array prototype dot. Okay. Includes return true. Oh. D-lang. We could try asking AI. Oh. Import, and I think that's standard algorithm. Oh. Man, this shit's confusing though, bro. Swear to God. On Ontagony. Then if my array dot confine 42 stuff. Okay, cool. Thank you Stack Overflow for existing, guys. Goddamn. That was okay. But if the array contains a certain value, then we can just... It's not even in this book right here. But that's probably later on. It'll be like, if array.canFind, and then blah, 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 blah. At least it's actually not that complicated. I was like, goddamn, where am I at? Get me down there. Let's see. If myArray.canFind. So it's .canFind. And I don't know why he does it that way, but he's weird for importing that like that. I don't know. Maybe you would want that. Maybe you don't want to import the whole library, but if a.canFind, right? So it'd be myArray.can capital find. What the fuck? Bro, come on. If a.canFind, and then equals, is it equals? Get out of my way, bro. Oh my gosh. $42. Oh, parameter right there. If array.canFind, and then it will be like -1. Wow. Thank God I don't have to write that shit myself. Array.canFind, guys. Good God. Imagine if I had to fucking write out a method of finding if it can find -1. Maybe next time, the next challenge would be to write that without using if a.canFind in the array for a, and then just break semicolon. And now we're ready to compile. It only took me that long to go ahead and find the answer on Stack Overflow. DMD array.to and DMD./array. We'll do 12, 13, 15, 14, 2, 1, 3, 4, -1. Array dot is out of index for array dot length. What the fuck? Array length of 9. So if anything references this, it will be doomed. What the fuck? Wait. Index 9 is out of array for array length of 9. Oh, but it might be. Not that it's like that, but maybe it's because I'm putting -1 in there, and then it's trying to search for negative. Maybe it's because of -1, guys. Maybe the -1 is the issue. What if that's the problem? It's because I'm putting in -1. Because it's just going -1. Out of bounds for an array length of 9. So index 9 is out of bounds. So how does that make sense, right? So what if I just assign -1 to... What if I just do it again and just do -1? So can I not assign a negative number to my array? Could have swore that's a thing. Could have swore you could put it on an int and it would just work fine. Makes no sense right there. No sense at all. Oh my gosh. Honestly, don't know what the problem with that is. We'll see. If array can find... So maybe it's not that it's trying to assign negative... Well, it needs to assign the -1 to A. Assign B... Well, maybe I'm doing it wrong. Because when you assign -1, it might be weird the way it's doing it. Let's see for a second. Because it might be putting it in like this shit. So like, instead it would put it in like that. I'm guessing that's what it does. I don't know if it can handle a negative number like that. Unless I put it in as 0 minus or 0 plus the final number. Maybe that would fix it. It would create it, make it a little more complicated, but I could have swore for a dynamic array you can assign that differently. Maybe it's that I need to put a space there. That might help it figure its life out, but it could also just be that it's just doesn't work. 1, -1. Oh. Okay, what about if I add a +0? And then dmd.compile, and then array. -1. How's that out of bounds? That doesn't make any fucking sense. It's not possible to add elements. Yes, we already know that shit. What the heck? This is making no sense to me. My brain is getting fried by this. The whole treat -1 differently thing. To use it for the end bit. And that's only going to work for that first section. This is weird. So we're assigning that. We're going to assign B1. Well, it works with positive numbers. It only doesn't. It only is discriminating against negative numbers. That must mean there's a problem somewhere in there. We'll have it write B. So, enter. B1. I'm curious what it's putting in there when I put -1. What? What the heck? Oh. Never mind. Rookie mistake. -1. Okay. So you can't assign that? You can't test if it's in there. That'd be if it can find -1. Maybe it's trying to find -1. Control S. Let's try that. -1. It's the test variable. Well, it's the if statement, because the if statement does that. It quite literally breaks the code in there. So if it does if A can find, then it will do that shit. And it breaks it. So when it finds that negative number, whenever it finds its value, it stops working. I could have swore that's how you exit this. Unless we have a separate value for the while true statement. Alright, so like, instead of doing while true, we do a conditional statement and have it run off of that. Right? So we could do, because if it's break that's causing my issue, right? So if we break it here, Why is this all on separate lines? Well, I just now realized this, but that all could be done like this, and it would look okay. Like, it's not like it's that and this needs to go back down to here. Bro, my formatting is terrible. Alright, but that doesn't really affect anything. That just makes it look pretty. What if we have this be... What was it? What number is it able to be assigned here? Oh, there is... Well, B0 would be assignable. While B0, and then we'll add in equals 0. And then instead of doing a break, we'll assign it to B, and then do 1. Or B0 equals 1, and then semicolon. Then we'll try that out. And then we can do 1, -1. Oh, it still doesn't work. Perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Okay, break. We'll go back to doing it the way we were doing it, just because I think it will work still. Let's try searching for this. Wait, it's actually got a link. You're trying to access the third element, index 2 of an array that only has... Yeah, but the array... So is a dot length doing some bullshit? Straight up doing some bullshit, I swear. It's doing some fucking stupid shit, I swear to God. A loop condition using that instead of that. We don't want to iterate this shit. Okay, we're just gonna remove this. That does not work. We're gonna figure that out in a second. All right, so what we'll do is we'll write to B0. So what we'll do is have B0 is also going to get assigned B1. Actually, no. We tried doing it with B1 as well. That shit won't work. Because then it will just try and do if B1... Wait a second. What if we just do the shit we did before? If B... in bracket 1... equals 0, and then I think we were having problems with this one as well. Maybe it's impossible, but no, it shouldn't be impossible. It's definitely possible. Break. Semicolon. Control S. Try it again. Compile. We'll try -1. 0. Oh! This is working fine. It's the other shit that's not working. That took me way too long to figure out. Control S. So yeah, it's working as intended. It breaks perfectly. So then when it goes into this shit, instead of having all that there, we're gonna do a true statement here too. And now, when we get to here, we're going to look at this. Index 2 is out of bounds for an array length of 2. So this one is iterating shit again. It has to do the math iteratively. However, how is it doing that? So B4 will always start at 0, so the second it does the first one, it will go boom. And it completes way too early, so like we'll need to have B. What is it reading though? So if do I want, okay, so if B3 equals 0, so we don't want it to do the math right away. We want it to skip that part potentially. So we're gonna do an if and an else statement, and then we'll continue going down with, right? Good God, this will become a spaghetti code. Spaghetti script, guys. S script. Everybody's afraid of spaghetti script until they try it out for themselves. It's about to put Java or some shit. Void main public void dot class Java. Ew. Separate everything with a fucking dot. Java, I hate it. Hate Java. Hashtag hate Java, guys. Hate Java in 2026. Bro, Java is fucking shitty. Makes everything shitty. Swear to God. What am I doing? Let's go ahead and do shit normally. We're gonna test if our A value, our B4 value, right? Actually, we'll test if B2, because if B2 is always going to equal A of B4, or well, the B4 number of A. So like if it's at 0, it will go that, and then if B2 equals, well, we'll have to put it after the B2. Enter. So if, and then parameter. Oh God, my ears are fucking ringing. B2, B bracket 2, then go ahead and go equals -1, and then put it into our brackets. A break. Put it into our scope break. Semicolon. And then we'll do else, which is kind of not even useful. Continues down, does the next step. That looks like it will work. Let's check this, make sure it looks good. Where's the, okay, that looks right. That, just making sure. And then we should be good to go. So it was working before, I was just being an absolute fucking idiot. That's programming for you guys. It works totally. 1, -1. Oh God. Include Phobos standard range primitives.b. Let's try it again. Let's just give it more numbers. 1, 3, 1, 2, 4, 6, and -1. So else, oh. Does else also need to have a scope after else? I think I need to have a scope after else. And then put my... Can I put an else if after else? This is like the world's weirdest fucking shit I've ever seen. Doing else and then else if. What did I just do? Who fucking knows? Oh God! Gordon, no. What have you done? Alright, we'll do that. And then, of course, we don't need an else if statement there. We're just going to go ahead and control S. And then it should be good. Alright, let's give it 12, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1, 9, and -1. And oh god, it breaks again. This is great. But what's the problem? And I think the problem is maybe we need to remove a dot -1. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna add a write line debug for each section to see where it's actually breaking at, because it's not giving me a really good indication of when it breaks. That's what's always getting me now, is like, where is it breaking at? And we'll go ahead and just debug. Control S. So we'll use this tactic to get us a debug of everything going on. I'm guessing it's not right here. Is it in this while? We'll go ahead and put it down under this if statement. We'll paste it right here. Try that out. See if it's breaking there. -1, 9, -1. Debug, debug. So it's passing both of these. And then it reaches this. A remove -1. So what it's doing, I think here, is that it's getting to this line. And it's causing me issues there with our remove -1. Because we don't want -1. Okay. So we want A equals A dot remove -1. But we don't know how to do that. So we want to go down and scroll down to where it says array dot remove. Array dot remove, guys. Remove. Write ln array standard IO array dot remove. So there are two different ways of using remove. Providing the index. But we want to find a specific one. So they're gonna put an exclamation point. I think anybody who knows what they're doing probably is laughing at me right now for not doing this, but they're not really actually. They're probably like, he figured it out finally. Wow, perfect. And then we'll do whatever this means. I don't know why a lot of programming is fucking math, guys. I think it's computer bullshit. When I create fish tech, it will include 100% more math and then some. To actually mine a block, you have to do a math script. You have to calculate out the digits of pi, the first 5 for every block. It will get absolutely fucking ludicrous. I hope everybody has a fucking pi generator. I sure don't. Alright, now if we get Control S and then we compile that shit, it will just work. Alright guys, 1, 2, 54, 55, 56, 32, 23, 23, 34, 35, 67, 89, 65, 43, 42, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 36, and -1. Wow! Holy shit! That's amazing. Guys, we've just revolutionized my program. This is perfect. Now, for all the Java programmers out there who are like, oh god, there are no functions or anything. What does it do? Get I don't even know. Get clowned on, nerd. Because D is better. D is the best language. It actually is readable. This shit's so readable to me. But when I look at your Java spaghetti, it looks like absolute slop, guys. I'm telling you. Oh, stop. Let's do it again. Let's go ahead and do, let's try putting in even more numbers. Let's go ahead and give it like different values. Oh god, don't try to do the number pad. Bro, the number pad will give you absolute fucking radiation nuclear poisoning. Give you cancer with that shit. Just keep giving it numbers until it gets bored. And -1. Actually, I want to keep going. Which distro is this? KDE Plasma. Kubuntu. Yes. -1. It does it. It does it, guys. It does the job. Wow. It does the job! D language tools, guys. So, what we're looking at is that it's sorting the... Oh. Oh. There is no sorting for that. It's just putting out the numbers as I put them in. It doesn't sort them. It's a good thing I caught that, because I'd be like, well, if it's not sorting them, why? That's the question now. Do we need to sort A before doing it? Do we need to sort A before the A dot... Well, actually, that needs to happen after that. No, it doesn't. But it doesn't output -1 at least. At least we made a good progress. We got it to actually get to this point without breaking. I'm surprised about that shit. So the sort function again. We'll have to revisit sorting to figure out how the fuck the sort function happens. God damn it. So that's the array.remove. I think sort came before that. Ah, here we go. Sort array, and then should just give you the output, right? Sneeze. Let's try just inputting a few numbers and see if it's able to get it right. That is in my main function too. Maybe I should do sort A before I do A.remove and way before I do writeline. I don't think it matters how I do this. I think this part doesn't matter. If you don't mind, what do you do for a living, lol? Just curious. That's a great question, but I really don't want to answer. Obviously not this, though. Just because I have a lot of numbers on this does not mean this. DMD array.2. 1, 3, 43, 23, 12, 11, 9, 0. Also, definitely not programming. This is my first programming language, though. They look like they're in order, but then they get to here and they're assigned not in order. Because of up here. Oh. Oh, okay. So I would need to sort them. But I can't. Okay. If I sort them before we actually assign them, it will break everything. And I don't want to do three different sorts, unless I can do. I wonder if it will take this, but I don't know if it will. I don't think it's gonna take that. I think it's gonna be like, why are you doing 3 different sorts? Yeah, okay. I don't want to have to do 3 sorts for this shit. What if we come up with a way of signing those, and then we assign them back afterwards? And then assign them to, like... that's pain. That would be painful. Let's just do it. Let's just do it in an easy fucking way. Who uses Kate, though? Bro, everybody's like, use this other thing. Man, I just use what I have, and I don't need another thing. This thing will work fine for me. Sort. We'll just do 3 different sorts. Yep. It's not the most efficient way. Well, it probably is the most efficient way. Sometimes trying to do shit in really complicated ways just makes it way harder. Let's just say that's the easiest one. So then they'll all be sorted. But what if I only wanted to use 1 sort? Well, I feel like I could just assign each array to the sort, and then have it get assigned, and then just loop back 3 times until... I mean, but that shit would be complex, though. You wouldn't want to do it 3 times for a sort. We could do it. Maybe next stream we'll add that in. We'll give it a sort that we'll do it and reiterate 3 times. So compile. Today, I think I'm getting close to the end though for today's episode. So 12, 13. Give it some different numbers in here. Which it shouldn't make a difference, the number length. We've seen that it works. And are they in order? We have 12. Yes, they are, surprisingly. And they're also sorted as odd and even, which is good. And there is no -1, which is the end code. So if you put a -1, it ends. If we put in negative anything, I feel like it would... Like, that's the problem, though. That now it only... If you put a -1, if you wanted to do negative numbers and you're sorting your odd and evens and you want to add in negative numbers... I don't know what you would even use a program like this for, though. I mean, it's a good example of how to do number sorting and how to do array data manipulation, though. So this is definitely a step up from FizzBuzz. Maybe now, with what we learned from this, we can go back to FizzBuzz and actually do it correctly. And that'll be for... Maybe tomorrow we'll do that. We'll try to revisit FizzBuzz and use some of the shit we learned from this shit. This is pretty good. For an hour and a half. Yeah. Well, I've literally just been doing this one program for an hour and a half. God damn. Am I that bad at it, or am I just beginning? I think this is just getting started. I feel like that's what anybody would say. Anyway, I think I'm going to end today's stream here, because I got to get ready for work and shit. I mean, I have like an hour and 30 minutes until work, but... Wait, actually, no, it's just an hour. Yeah, just an hour. Okay, well, see you all next time. Goodbye. I hope you all enjoyed me programming this wonderful sorting program. Good God. This shit was painful because... Well, it would have been less painful if I hadn't made so many rookie mistakes with the, realizing that... What was it? There was something... that it was working correctly here. That this first break works correctly.